Hello, we're live. We're live.
Hello, how are you?
We're live. Hello, Bev. This is thank you so much. This is Beverley Jones, your Managing Director of Awaken Coaching.
I am.
Thank you, Beverley, for joining me on the interview and the show today. We're gonna have a nice little chat to discuss your journey, because it's been quite some journey, hasn't it? Really.
A journey, yeah. Been a bit of a journey since we met, hasn't it?
It is, isn't it? So just describe for people what, before we met, Bev, can you describe briefly how you felt and what was blocking you really from moving forwards?
Okay. Well, prior to meeting, I just had started my business and I kind of felt I didn't have any confidence. I was like, well, I don't really know if I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing, don't really know what to do. Even though I had 30 years in the corporate behind me, I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to be doing. So I started this business and wasn't really sure how to make it grow. Then I saw you at a networking event, and you talked about making money while you sleep, and that sounded great actually, because in those days I used to kind of sleep a lot because I wasn't, it's just in my recovery really from corporate burnout. So you talked about passive income, which in turn would then grow my portfolio and then my business. I didn't know whether I could make it work, to be honest, but we met up after that and you started to chat me through about how I could look into other avenues, how I could make passive income from my business, and how it would just move forward if I did so. So yeah, so I was kind of a bit stuck and not knowing where to go, what to do. Didn't even know I could make money while I slept. Didn't understand the passive income thing. Didn't understand the many income streams that obviously you need in business. Still didn't have any of that experience at all, but you helped me with that.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, wasn't it? Because it's a common theme really for many people. Not only did you have that kind of because you knew you were going to wanted to be a coach, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I identified straight away that coaching is such a saturated market. If you're just a coach, and no defined area, and that was one of the things that I was quite keen right from the beginning. Talking to you was to work out what your niche was in that market, and it became very clear very quickly for me how you could really carve a specialist niche and help a lot of people. So that's basically kind of off the back of your experience yourself. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, basically, I was 30 years in corporate, like I said, so it was a massive journey. Rose up to the whole ranks of senior management, ran big areas, and it was just kind of one of those things that I didn't know what to do with it. And then I crashed out with a corporate burnout and didn't want to tell anybody at that time that I had, I'd gone through clinical depression, severe anxiety, all as a result of thinking I could cope and thinking everything was grand. So what I did was just kind of hide that part of it away. And then when I met you and you started to talk about it, and then I cried. I remember a lot.
You did a lot. And it always makes me feel really guilty when people say that, but actually that's an indication to me that we're really getting to the heart of something, that something is very passionate in an individual. And that was certainly the case with you, Bev.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just didn't feel I could talk about it, as you know, at that time. But you, it's not right to say you made me, because that sounds terrible.
No, I didn't.
But it was just something that you, through the way that you spoke, that I started to kind of unravel all of that stuff, as it were. It all started to make sense in that I could use that to then help other people through their own journeys, whether it be through the corporate burnout, through what I've been through, or through their life and business journeys, really what was going on for them, and that's where it all kind of started at that time. So it was down to those conversations.
It was very, again, the importance for anybody that's interested in finding a niche is actually really it's connecting with that passion, isn't it? It's that kind of when I say passion, it's something that really stirs us inside. And you'd been on an incredible journey yourself, and to position you as a specialist in an area. I mean, we did speak at length about the positioning of how you were going to be positioned in the marketplace as well, wouldn't it? It was sort of,
it did, and where that all that come from, and how would I be able to do that. And what made me stand out, what made me different to other coaches, if you like. And I'm not different, not really, but how my journey, I suppose, was a bit different. And that kind of led into that then, because as we all know, that kind of corporate burnout, the depression, the anxiety, it has a stigma, and it has a stigma, and people feel they're discriminated against. And I kind of carried that stigma myself. I didn't even think other people judged me, really. It was the judging of myself that caused the biggest problem, which is why I didn't want to talk about it. But I realised that by talking about it and coming out and talking about it meant that I could help other people, like I said. So, it's not made me different, like I said. That's terrible, but made me, I suppose different, because I talked about it, and not many people were. Not as many 8 years ago as they do today.
It takes tremendous courage to actually, especially such an emotive subject, such a personal subject. It takes great courage for anybody to actually step up and even voice their experiences. And with you, Bev, you really, when I suggested a book, at first there was that kind of trepidation of like, you've got to be kidding.
I want to write a book, but I don't want to write a book about that.
And and I can remember saying that, you need the book, Bev, because that's your story and that's the platform, and that's going to sort of springboard you into everything else. And you did it. I mean, all credit to you, Bev. I mean, how long did it take you to write this book? Your first book, it was 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2012 I wrote it, and it was then published in 2013. And I remember having the conversation with you when you were like, right, go home and do it. So I went home, and I actually was surrounded by boxes and stuff, because my house had been, as you know, renovated at that time. And I sat there amongst all of this, and I wrote the first 3 chapters within like a week or something. It was really ridiculous. And then I sent it off to you, and you were like, whoa, hang on. Do you know what I mean? You said you couldn't do it, and now you've done like 3 chapters in less than a week. And it just all came out. I found this incredible kind of passion about writing it, but found that I could write, if you like, quite easily. So as a result, it didn't take me that long. I think probably in essence took a couple of months to get it all together. But if I looked at how long it actually took to write it, and I broke that down into working hours, it was probably about 3 weeks from beginning to end.
which is like, that's like mind-blowing, but it's just testament again to when you've got that passion and you've got the knowledge in I suppose it was quite cathartic in a way, was it, Bev?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. And it was the starting point of so many things for me, massively. I've got it here, look, it's here.
Let's have a look. Yay, made it through the rain, and it's available, is it on Amazon or something?
On Amazon, as a Kindle or as a published book.
Wonderful. And that really was a springboard for you, wasn't it? I mean, tell me how that experience shaped you, and where you've come from there to where you are now. What's been going on there?
Obviously, the things that at that time were keeping me awake were things like lack of financial income. My message wasn't out there. How was I going to get all of that out? I become stuck in that. My self-esteem was low. My recovery, was just kind of ongoing. But what happened with the book is when I started to write my experiences into the book, and as you said, I couldn't believe I could do it. It started to change everything, because then my story became real, and people started to, whereas before I'd said, I just came out of my corporate career because I was ill. I had to then start to tell people why I came out of my corporate career, because it was out there in a book. And it became, it was fundamentally there. So literally it changed my life, because it meant that people would then talk to me about it, have those conversations. I started to get more confidence in talking about it, which I do now anyway, as part of what I do, as a public speaker. But it just completely changed everything. And it also helps as a coach, if I'm honest, to have a product, because when you're trying to sell a service, it is so, so, so hard when you're trying to sell yourself to begin with, because you have to have, I've been doing this 7 years now, so unbelievably. So a lot of people know who I am, a lot of people have worked with me. So word of mouth is great, that grows, but it can only grow with time. So I think when you have a product, as you suggested, it meant that I had something I could, if you like, sell them or hand to them or discuss with them. And I had something tangible rather than just me as another coach. You know, so that kind of how the book really helped me was to have a product as well as a service to sell.
Yeah, and it's an elevator, a great elevator, a book. I mean, I know, you know, some people would argue about sort of, you know, there seemed to be a flood, didn't there, in the market of people going out and saying, right, I'm going to write a book, and you know, and there were ebooks flying everywhere for a time, and then people jumped on the self-publishing bandwagon, which is fabulous. I mean, I've published self-published several times, but I think the bottom line is that it does give you that springboard, that authority in the marketplace. Perhaps, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and it does, and it gives you a little bit of credibility because you become an author, of course, and that's what I always wanted to do. I was really fortunate because the book got picked up, as you know, by a publisher, so I went down that route. But it was just lovely, you know, it was great for me, lovely for me to stand up and fulfill a childhood dream of becoming an author as well. So, you know, things really, but yeah, it's certainly made a difference having a book, and it's led on to other writing as well. You know, I now write different publications or things.
You've got into radio as well, haven't you, Bev?
Yes, I do radio now. I love radio.
I was gonna say I like radio as well. I gotta say, but so I mean, bring us up to date. What are you? Because you're like, God, you're an advocate for this, and tell us, Bev.
I know. I do. I run Awaken Coaching now, so that fortunately changed into a limited company 2 years ago. So that was great, really. I now work with corporates under the Corporate Angel banner. Where I go and help people with mental health in the workplace and their well-being, and that's right across the UK. So I have other coaches that work with me to do that. I run the Awaken Business Club, where I mentor other small businesses, just like you mentored me. I mentor them. So I'm able to give back because I felt that you were so giving at that time, and I'm now able to give back, and I run that. And then, yes, I now do... I often do the radio newspaper reviews on Radio Wales, sometimes contribute on that. But as part of some voluntary work which I do, which has been really important, you know, I need to mention the fact that I've done a number of voluntary roles over the last few years. In fact, I had 5 running at one time. But they've been absolutely amazing. You know, I'm still a champion for Time to Change Wales around the stigma and discrimination against mental health. I still talk about that a lot. Massive, you know, with them. Help local kind of organisations raise money. But in November, I am now having my own radio show on NH Sound. Very excited. So Friday night between 5 and 6, and then 5 and 7 after a while. Going on there to do my radio show. So Positive Living with Easy Listening and the Beverley Jones Show.
Wonderful. So, good grief, Bev. So you know, taking yourself back to like 2012. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would end up where you are now? I mean, from
no, shake my head off. No, I didn't.
No,
I really, you know,
it's incredible.
No, you know, I really wanted that, and I felt that it was what I wanted, and I knew it was what I wanted, and I knew within so many years, this business plan, wouldn't it be great to do that? I'm a great advocate of vision boards, as you know. And I put all of this on my vision boards over the years, and here I am. So
amazing. That laser focus of the brain with the goal setting, it's fab, isn't it?
It does, absolutely. So I'm back now doing a lot more business coaching probably than life coaching. So I work with the bigger corporates, bigger companies, and that's really just to help with mental health. So it has become full circle, really. So
fabulous. So have you got like one bit of advice that you could give to sort of anybody, like a coach or anybody out there that might be in a similar situation that you were in back then, that, you know, you come out of corporate or you've changed jobs, or kind of, you know, and you're a little bit kind of, you know, you don't know where you're going or what you do. Have you got any bit of advice to them?
There's a couple of things, really. I mean, the first thing is, you know, don't forget you can have more than one niche. I think we often forget that. You know, I now work with corporates and small businesses, and I do the events. So, you know, I kind of have different niche markets. So that's one thing. Secondly, always, you know, believe in yourself. Please try and get yourself a mentor. Try and speak to somebody who can help you, because they're there. They can guide you. They've either been there or they've got experience. And without that, you know, you kind of can be fumbling around a bit. So, you know, reach out and ask people for help. and get yourself, if you can, a mentor. And the last 2 things really: always believe, be determined, and be consistent with your message. And those 3 things will drive it all forward for you.
Wonderful advice and messaging there, Bev.
Thank you.
Fabulous. And so just before we go, what's a website? Give people a website if they want to sort of contact you.
Yeah, www.awakencoaching.co.uk.
There you go. There you have it. So thank you so much, Beverley Jones, Managing Director of Awaken Coaching. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch your journey, and I wish you all the very best carrying on in future.
For your help. Been amazing. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Take care.
Annie, bye-bye.